How do I, 27F, tell my husband, 29M, of 3 years that I've racked up $20,000 in credit card debt? Update, I told him. It actually went really well. Yes, he was obviously upset and questioned how I could even spend that much, but he's going to help me make sure I pay it down. I feel so relieved. Thank you to everyone for the encouragement. My 27F husband, 29M, and I have been together for 7 years, married for 3. We split all house finances, we own our home, but have separate checking accounts, savings, credit cards, etc. He manages his money very well. I do not. He never keeps a rotating balance on his credit card. I have maxed out my Discover card at $12.5 thousand. I have $1.6 thousand on an Amex, and I took out a personal loan of about $7.5 thousand to cover previous debt. It's gotten to the point where I'm tired of hiding this from him and I'm scared of my future. I have a decent job and I recently got another part-time job a few months ago to help pay down my debt. It just feels like I'm drowning. How do I tell him? Too long did not read. I have $20,000 in credit card debt and don't know how to tell my financially savvy husband. I think sit him down, pull the band-aid off and be 100% honest. Be honest about your spending and exactly how much, don't lie or trickle truth it. Think about the real changes you will have to make to your life to turn this situation around. Think about what it is that allowed you to get yourself into this situation. Bored, lonely, unhappy, mental health issues, etc. Decide if you're serious about those changes. This isn't a pay down the debt to rack it back up later on thing. This is taking stock of why you're spending so much, possible impulsivity or addictive behaviors, shopping to block emotional pain, etc. Money and trust issues can cause major issues in a relationship. Trust isn't always about just not cheating. This is a trust you broke. You need to tell him or else this will seriously fuck you both over in another year or two. Imagine trying to apply for any loan you two might need and this pops up. And you should consider giving him the credit cards until they're completely paid off, and you should probably look for counseling about why you keep spending this much and how you can regulate it. $20K isn't something you get easily, so this is something you can and should work on. It's best to rip the band-aid off right now and get the help you need. Be honest. Give him all of your credit cards. Work your ass off to pay off all your debts on your own. If you don't show him immediately that you are willing to make big sacrifices to fix this, he may have one foot out the door. Speaking from experience, actions speak way louder than words. $20,000 debt is manageable although regrettable. Whatever is making you spend so much is the problem, you might need therapy. My friend left her husband for this exact thing, only he didn't tell her. She found out on her own. You need to tell him now. This is not something you hide from your partner. Info: how did you end up in this much debt? I feel this is important when telling your partner. Does OP have an addiction of some sort, or is this years of minimal credit card payments being made? Yikes. Honestly, I would say hiding so much debt for 7 years and only revealing it after marriage is unforgivable and is nightmare fuel, but that's just how I would feel. Best advice would be to be straightforward and open with that you have a crazy amount of debt that you've been hiding, but your second job's wages will go entirely to paying it off. Hopefully he will be understanding since you've already took a step in the right direction. I don't have credit cards because I would do this. No thanks. What did you spend all that money on? Nice update, glad to hear it. Can you now tell us how it got this way to begin with? Lol, do you just need to have an excellent credit score to start, and if so, why doesn't it start going down month after month? I need a lesson, tears of joy. You need to come clean, ASAP. He will find out anyway, and the longer you wait, the bigger issue it becomes. You need to sit down, tell him everything, and then the two of you need to make a plan and stick to it. That will likely mean giving him full transparency, at minimum, going forward. Oh, and be prepared. He might be very angry and see this as a betrayal. Which it is. If you're married, your partner needs to know these things. Be prepared for him to be angry and disappointed that it got this far. Make an appointment for you both to speak to a financial advisor. Show him that you're being proactive. Tell him and cut up your cards. Earn his trust back. You have to be honest. My mom kept doing this, and if it weren't for my dad's pension it would have run him into the ground long ago. Rip the band-aid off and give full transparency and a game plan. When they are all paid off, I'd cut them up and never use them again. It's not necessary a you thing. Some people, me included, just can't help it and credit card companies love us for it. I think you can consolidate the credit card debts. I helped my friend did it once. You can Google some non-profit organizations that offer help. Yes. I agree that you have a problem. And need to get treatment for it, unless you want to bankrupt yourself. I'm glad it worked out for you. Hopefully you manage your finances better now. It concerns me that you have separate bank accounts 3 years into a marriage if we're being honest. Well, this should entertain him and give him some fun project to work on. I hope this brings you both closer. This happened to me. Be honest with him and have a plan to get it paid off. My ex-wife did this while I was on deployment and I was furious. She steered into the skid and kept spending money with no sign of stopping. It ultimately led to our divorce. Be upfront and have a plan to fix it. Then fix what part of you feels the need to spend money you don't have. I'm so glad this worked out. 2 hearts purple heart, it must feel so much better. With song and ukulele like Peter Griffin did. No, in all honesty you just have to open up to him about it. It's better now that he knows than when it's too late. I'm hoping he won't take it terribly. Just make sure he knows that it's your responsibility and not his. If you were my partner, you need to come clean or I am definitely leaving. People have different financial expectations in general, so having this conversation is necessary. With you two still being young, there is still plenty of time for you to get this situation under control. But, don't be surprised if all of your credit cards get taken away. I'd also suggest some type of help, therapy, depending on why you're spending way beyond your means. Try consolidating on a low April loan or CC. I just recently transferred 2 of my credit card balances to with somewhere around 8-10% April, to a 24-month 0% April. I can easily pay those off in 2 years without any interest occurring. I left the 2 other accounts open, but shredded the CC. That could be a thought. Good luck. If you call 6,163,276,400 and call Christian, he set me up with a debt settlement company paying 0 interest and less than what I owe. Hi. I'm sorry to hear that you are struggling with credit card debt. It can be really difficult to keep up with payments and feel like you are drowning. You are doing the right thing by getting another job to help pay down the debt. It sounds like you are worried about how your husband will react when you tell him. It is understandable to feel scared and worried about his reaction. I encourage you to have a conversation with him about your financial situation. He may be able to offer some helpful advice or suggestions. It is important to be open and honest with him about your debt. I hope this advice is helpful. Please let me know if you have any other questions. By actions. Develop a better spending habit and go work full-time. Show him you support the family. I'm terrible with my one credit card too. My husband knows I'm in debt, but not how much. I have been paying it off and trying to get it turned around. I buy more stuff when I'm depressed. I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey and I out of debit by following his technique. It took several years but it worked. If you tell him, he'll be upset, but he should be able to see that you are trying to do better. If you don't tell him and he finds out, you will almost guaranteed lose your marriage. You need to tell him. Credit cards are a great tool if you use them responsibly. I suggest going cash only or have an individual account that a debit card pulls from until you feel like you've built healthy habits. Take a loan out against an asset while interest rates are low to pay it down, maybe sell some jewelry. Credit card debt is the most expensive form of debt. Hopefully you didn't tank your husband's credit score. That's about $300 in interest per month. Good news, once you get out of this, you will be highly motivated to never return. Step 1. Cut up your credit cards. From Bangkok, after you put another $5,000 on for the flight and hotel. Then never come back. Sit him down, tell him you have a surprise for him. Give him a nice sloppy blowjob, then ask if he's ready for the surprise. Accidentally forget your bill open on the table.